Hello, everybody. Today I am going to talk to you about everything about air pollution, its effect on our health, and safeguards. That means we'll be talking about how to protect ourselves from adverse effects of air pollution, which we are facing these days to the highest extent. Every year in the winter, as Diwali comes, the air quality in this city, NCR, and in fact the whole of North India becomes so bad to breathe that we all start getting cough, sore throat, chest tightness, breathlessness, even the sleep gets affected. And everybody can perceive that the air quality has gone bad. So I'm going to discuss with you all the adverse effects of air pollution and how to protect ourselves. Now, this is nothing new that Delhi NCR has a dubious distinction, and we all celebrated Diwali with crackers this time, and with the result that Diwali had the worst air quality in this city. And we all know India Gate, iconic India Gate. This is before Diwali, and as the Diwali comes, the next morning it becomes like this. And we cannot forget India Gate during lockdown when there were no cars on the road, all the business activities stopped, and we could see an India Gate with a clear blue sky as we see in the Western countries. And this is the kind of lung that we should have, that is the pink lung, healthy lung, and this is from a Delhi lung at the time of operation provided by my colleague Dr. Arvind Kumar. Now, let us talk about life expectancy. Now, Indians in 1951 had life expectancy of 35 years. And as there was a progress in the health and other modes, the life expectancy improved to 58 years by 1991. And by 2023, it was more than 70 years. It is definitely a progress. But if you compare with the developed countries like Australia, the life expectancy at birth is something like 83 years. So we are actually sort of 13 years behind them. And the Chicago study, which was published in August 2023, which estimated that lifespan of Indians is reduced by average 5.3 years due to air pollution, and the lifespan of Delhiites is reduced by staggering 11.9 years. Can it be changed? Can we improve it? And it is proven by the China. China came with a hard hitting uh, changes in their air quality, and there was improvement in the lifespan by 2.2 years following strict measures to control air pollution. So, why this man made tragedy? And what are the health effects that we are going to talk about? And I am a pulmonologist, so I am actually the first person who is affected by this because our lungs, we breathe about 10,000 liters of air every day. There are 420 liters of oxygen is needed for human survival and function. And the WHO reports that 200 in 2012 that around 7 million people died as a result of air pollution exposure, which is about the largest killer if you compare it with other diseases. But where does pollution comes from? Unless you know your enemy, how you will fight it? That's why we should know where does the pollution comes from. There are stationary sources like public power production, like coal plants, the Delhi and surrounding area, the 300 kilometers, all the plants except one are run by coal and they emit loads of nitric oxide and sulfur dioxide and also other pollutants. There are mobile sources. We all have seen this traffic snarls in city of Delhi and NCR. Sometimes it takes you 3 hours to reach from Delhi to Gurgaon or Delhi to Noida. And these traffic snarls lead to very high level of air pollution. Now, the transportation is something like causes 50% of the air pollution. It could vary from time to time. Industrial processes 12%, and fuel consumption, except vehicles, is also very important, and miscellaneous are about 10%. There are brick kilns around which emit and variety of industrial works. We keep blaming Parali, but fortunately this time the contribution of Parali was very little. And of course, municipal waste burning, which leads to 4% of air pollution in Delhi NCR. Indoor air pollution is very important. It not only affects the person who is actually cooking in a kitchen, but also it adds to the atmospheric air pollution. In the winter, the poor guards sitting outside guarding the houses and the offices to fight the chill of this winter, they burn anything like paper or wood or coal or to keep themselves somewhat comfortable. So, what are the major air pollutants and what are the mechanism of their adverse effects? There are six common pollutants are there: particulate matter, that is PM 2.5 and PM10, nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, ground level ozone, and sulfur dioxide. The lead is almost not there as the all the petrol is now lead free. Now, why we talk about particulate matter, PM10 and PM2.5? This is because the particles who are more than 10 microns do not penetrate the upper airways. Our nasal filter is efficient enough to stop these particles. So, particles of importance are PM10. Now, PM10 particles are from 2.5 to 10 micron. These particles enter our respiratory tract and but do not enter the lowest part of the lung. The why PM 2.5 is important because these are the particles which actually go to the lowest part of the lung and cause the major damage to the lung. That is why the PM 2.5 today is the most important parameter that we follow. We do not discuss is the nanoparticles because it's a research tool. This cannot be measured by usual instruments. The nanoparticles are or ultrafine particulates are particles which are less than zero point 0.1 micron. What is important that these are the particles which go to the lower airways and penetrate and go into the bloodstream. And they go to the all the organs from brain to heart to intestine to genital tract, bones, skin, everywhere. So these particles are important which causes heart disease, intestinal disease, genital disease, and also the brain diseases. And of course the gases. So this is a depiction of the particle size. The nanoparticles are the one which are not discussed, and there's something beyond visible pollution which is not talked about, and we must talk about that because there are, as I talked about, there are nanoparticles. They're volatile organic compounds like benzene that exist as gases. They enter the bloodstream via diffusion and they are the major cause of cancers and nanoplastics. And these are the degraded plastic fragments that act as vectors for endocrine disrupting chemicals and heavy metals. So, a lot of research has to be done to find out how the air pollution affects us. Now, there are PM 2.5 is most visible, which we are measuring, which is captured 100%. Ultrafine particulates are actually not measured routinely, and specific chemicals like barium and strontium, which are present in the firecrackers, are not detected usually, and nanoplastics also are not detected. So, therefore, the air pollution is causing harm to us in more ways than we realize. In the morning, we wake up and see AQI. Everybody is talking about, oh, today AQI is in severe range and very severe range or hazardous. What is air quality index? So in year 2014, Ministry of Environment, Central Pollution Control Board, they formed a committee to, to frame one index which can give one number which can give the extent of air pollution. Now, we all sat down together for several months, had several meetings, and finally came out with this index which had ozone, particulate matter, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, and nitrogen. And the AQI scale was prepared from 0 to 500 that we are using. How how the air pollution impacts our health? That is very important to understand. That right from the birth, when the baby is in the womb, it has been seen that umbilical cord contains large amount of air pollutants. If the lady is living in a polluted environment, it leads to birth defects. It can lead to intrauterine growth retardation, and even the neonatal deaths can occur. But what we usually see is chronic and acute bronchitis in the form of cough with expectoration and chest tightness, sore throat, dryness of the mouth. There are more respiratory illness that we see during this time in the form of severe pneumonia, more hospital admission and ICU admission. Heart attacks are more common. There's an evidence that I'll be talking about. And all types of cancers, not only cancer of the lung, but even the cancer of the intestine, kidney, urinary bladder, breast, and even uterus and the ovaries. All the cancers can be caused by air pollution. Nervous system is affected. If you talk about children, their learning capacity is compromised because of the air pollution. There are more strokes, and also it is related to the dementia. So as I said, that in the health effects, there is a discomfort, irritation of nose, throat, eyes, or skin, headache, dizziness, and nausea. In the respiratory diseases, exacerbation of asthma, COPD, and lower respiratory tract infections, and lung cancer, and ischemic heart disease. So there is no system of the body which is not affected by air pollution. Now, 30 years back, hardly people knew about nebulization. But today, where if you have a children in the house, there's all probability they'll be owning a nebulization because in the children the asthma is so common. Now, in city of Delhi NCR that virtually every household, if there are elderly or children, they have nebulization machine. And the fine particulate matter leads to impaired blood vessel function. There is a thickening of the blood vessel. There is a calcification in the arteries, and exposure to nitrogen dioxide lead to increased risk of heart and brain diseases in the form of intracranial hemorrhage and heart attacks. As I said, variety of cancers, not only the lung cancer, but other cancers are caused by the air pollution, and it is proven that uh, diesel exposure, which contains polyaromatic hydrocarbons, lead to lung cancer, and also there is an evidence that occupational exposure to benzene, which is a component of gasoline, causes is associated with Hodgkin's lymphoma. Children and elderly are particularly affected, and we all know that daily children have very high incidence of asthma, but they also have a higher incidence of attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder symptoms, and there are more incidence of cognitive and emotional problems. Pregnancy is adversely affected, leading to preterm birth, low birth weight, maternal and fetal illness, and death. So, this is a pyramid which describes the adverse effects of air pollution. A large proportion are affected, but they have subclinical effects. Like, if the pollution is there, they may have a little bit of sore throat, little bit of dryness of throat, cough, which goes away with time, maybe headache. But smaller proportion will have symptoms which lead to decline in lung function and increase in medication use. They require more inhalers, more nebulization. Some of them will require hospital visits. As fewer numbers will require emergency and hospital admission, and death finally is also attributed to air pollution as shown by Chicago study. In India, there was a study conducted under the leadership of my mentor, Dr. J.N. Pandey, from 1997 to 98, just shown that emergency room visits of asthma, heart attacks, and COPD was higher by 21 to 24% in response to the air pollution in last 24 to 48 hours. There was another study conducted by Dr. Uma from Terry, which actually, this was a retrospective analysis, that daily mortality was increased by 0.11% with each increase in PM10 by 10 micron per meter cube. In those days, PM2.5 was not uh, measured. So I, along with my colleague, contributed an article in the International Journal, Air Pollution in India and Related Adverse Respiratory Health Effects. In this, the salient features was that ambient air pollution attributable deaths are 1.09 million in 2015, and indoor air pollution also caused similar number of deaths. There are nearly 6,000 premature deaths every day in India. So therefore, both indoor air pollution and outdoor pollution leads to COPD, lung cancer, and higher mortality. So what can be done at the personal level? What are the safeguards that we can follow to be protected from adverse effects of air pollution? Then I'd like to give you some tips so as to minimize the effect of dangers of outdoor air pollution. Number one, reduce time spent outdoors to under 30 minutes when AQI is high. reduce intensity of outdoor activity. That means don't go for jogging and running if you are in the morning when the smog is there, because when you do strenuous activity, you take 5 times the quantum of air. And when you run or do jogging, your mouth opens and you breathe through the mouth, so nasal filter is bypassed. So the benefit is less, but the harm is much more. According to Environment Protection Agencies, the chances of being affected by unhealthy levels of air pollution increase the longer the person is active outdoors and more strenuous activities. So therefore, if there is smog is there, please do not venture out for exercise. Now, if you want to go outdoor, you should use a well-fitted N95 or KN95 mask, have better filtration capabilities and may be beneficial during high AQI days. Now, the usual cloth mask or surgical mask has no value in protecting yourself from air pollution. So you can use the N95 mask if you want to go out for crowded places or you have to go for walking. Initially, you may feel claustrophobic, but subsequently you get used to it. It is very important that your mask should be properly fitting. So you position and secure the mask, and there's a mold which you should press it with your both fingers. And after you have fitted the mask, you take deep breath and inside there should be collapse of this mask, and that will actually prove that your mask fitting is proper. There are nasal filters which are not so easy to use, but if you can use nasal filters, it will be helpful. Now, every household seems to be having air purifiers. Now, air purifiers are one who filters the air and purifies the air inside the room. But it is important that if you are using air purifier, keep the windows door closed, run the air conditioning on the recirculate setting, and use a HEPA air cleaner so that your air purifier should have a HEPA filter. So there are three stages of air purifier. There should be a filter, there should be a HEPA filter, and there should be a activated carbon filter which absorbs AD, absorbs gases. Unless this activated carbon filter is there, the gases won't be stopped, and no air purifier is able to completely filter the nanoparticles. That should be understood. So, how to use air purifier? Leave your air purifier on all the time. Place the air purifier in the room where you spend the most time. Leave your air purifier in the same room. Keep door and windows closed when your air purifier is on. Point the flow of clean air towards your breathing zone, and avoid ionic air cleaners and ozone generation, because all air purifier have potential to generate ozone which themselves are harmful. So as I said, there are three stages: that HEPA, that high efficiency particulate air filters, along with activated uh, carbon, which is essential for air purifier, and ozone protection by air ionizer and UV air purifier is there. That should be kept in mind. It is important that the maintenance of air is very important. And as I said at the risk of repetition, there should be an activated filter which actually absorbs the gases. There was a study done by IIT Kanpur where this particular gadget, which actually reduced the respirable PM to the tune of 43 to 53%. This was conducted in a controlled environment, Now, the most efficacious cited by the company were conducted in the controlled or sealed environment. For the fine particulate matter, its effectiveness is around 40%, which is roughly comparable to simple three-ply. The efficacy of this has to be seen. Now, there are small things that you can do which will help you protect to some extent. One, that food and drinks, never heat food in plastics. Switch to a glass or stainless steel. Use, as I said, the type of air purifier. It is better to use cotton clothes instead of synthetic clothes, and always use N99 or N95 mask. Now, how the trees clean the air? We are talking about planting more and more plants. The trees act as biological filters. Their leaves physically trap particulate matter like dust and smoke, while their stomata absorb gaseous pollutants like nitrogen dioxide and sulfur dioxide. So you need large number of trees, and that is why government is planting more and more trees, and cutting of the trees is an offense. So finally, we all wake up during October, November, and January when the air pollution is AQI is very high. It goes to hazardous. Schools are closed, offices are closed, the construction is stopped, and so on and so forth. But Bhakt Kabir said, दुख में सुमरन सब करे सुख में करे न कोय जो सुख में सुमरन करे तो दुख काय को होय. If we want to combat air pollution, we have to act when the air AQI is low. And we used to act round the year and follow the strategy to reduce pollution and do things which will protect us from menace of air pollution. And the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, said, the difference between what we do and what we are capable of doing would solve most of the world's problem. And it is so true with air pollution that we know what what we need to do. We are capable of doing it if we follow all the strategies of preventing air pollution as has been done in developed countries. We'll be able to solve this problem. I thank you very much for your kind attention, and I hope this deliberation has been useful to you. Thank you very much.